Man, I wish I had that on video.
A little too tall. It
Um,
doesn't go down. Okay.
Angel is struggling with an office chair. Well, it's a stool, but it's still an office chair. Oh, you're silent now?
I didn't know you started. We're just like...
No, Angel, we started a podcast. Therefore, we are in fact talking to ourselves.
I'm like, what are you doing?
Okay. On that note,
Take 2.
hello, everyone. Angel is struggling with a stool and thinks that I'm going crazy talking to myself after we just said we're going to start a podcast.
I'm not crying.
But we have a confession to make. We're late. We're very late. I thought that I had another episode scheduled over the weekend, and it turns out I did not.
Nope.
Big whoops. So on this lovely Pi Day 3.14, nerd.
Can you recite all of pi?
No.
Can you recite like the 6 digits of pi?
No.
Neither can I.
3.145. 2, 3. No. Anyway, I'm wrong. Don't get me distracted. We have a mission today.
Okay.
Mission. So
Mission.
we were distracted because we just did a clinic in North Carolina, and it was amazing, in my personal opinion.
It was awesome.
It was super fun. It was also very wet and cold.
Also,
yes. So made it really interesting conditions. And if you guys haven't seen it yet, there's a really hilarious video going around of Tyler sliding down Big Red, claiming that it was the warm up.
My gosh,
it's pretty funny. We're gonna have to post it up on like the LMMR Instagram page, I think. So if you haven't seen it yet, go to Leaky Mushroom on Instagram and get your laugh in for today. But on that note, while that was all happening, I did what I call a prospecting party, which is where Angel knows I've been procrastinating this because I've been working on the clinics and everything else and writing the book. And basically I said, I'm going to write a book so that I didn't have to message a whole bunch of people about sponsorship stuff, even though it's exactly what I coach. And it's the number one thing a lot of people struggle with. So I call it a prospecting party, which is where you just block out a chunk of time and you go through your list of companies you want to talk to. And you find the people inside of that company that you want to talk to. You pick one person. We're going to go through this whole process. This is just the summary. Pick one person, and then you send them the dog hair floating from the ceiling. You send them a message, and then you kind of move on. And that's called the prospecting party, where you just sit down for like an hour or two, just sending those first couple of messages, and hopefully you hear back. And we did hear back, and it was actually a really cool conversation that happened. It's not finished yet, but I want to talk about what happened. But first, real quick, let's kind of talk about what prospecting, how you come up with the list of companies you're going to talk to first. So kind of how I run it. One of the things that I teach is when you do your survey, you find a lot of the companies that you want to reach out to inside of your survey, whether it's when you ask people like what their hobbies are, when you ask people what their interests are, how likely are they to buy a house this year or buy a truck, buy a new motorcycle, that kind of stuff. That's all figuring out kind of the generic industries that you're going to reach out to, right? If a lot of your audience plans on buying a house this year, you're going to go to real estate and insurance and phone and internet, people that supply houses, electricians, plumbers, that kind of stuff. Like somebody who buys a home, what do those people need? And that's in turn going to be the sponsors you go to. That is the very first, so like the center, I always think of it as a bullseye. I learned this from Chris Bayless in the Sponsorship Collective. So the center of the bullseye are very specific companies or brands that people have told you they use or that they think you would be a good partner for. So one of the questions in my survey is like, who do you think should sponsor our program this year? And we got a lot of female-based companies recommendations. So those female-based companies, they gave us the very specific name. I can send out messages and I can say, hey, in our survey, people told us that they want us to connect and engage and think that we make a good partnership. I'd love to talk more to you. So that's the center of the bullseye. You start with the companies that were mentioned specifically in the survey. Then you take that step out and you talk about kind of like what I had just mentioned, where if everybody is in real estate, what do people who are going to buy a home, what do they need? Electricians, plumbers, insurance, homeowners insurance. That's one
Yep.
thing. Real estate agents, the stuff that goes into that. You're going to problem solve for them. What do those people need? You're going to talk to those brands. The next ring outside of those two is you're going to talk to the companies that advertise inside of the media channels that your audience watches or listens or reads. So my audience watches Red Bull TV. Who advertises inside of Red Bull TV? Nobody, because it's owned by Red Bull. But as an example, like who partners with a lot of the people that are on Red Bull TV? It's not, and I'm not talking like the endemic brands, which is, Red Bull is an endemic brand. Yamaha is an endemic brand. Kawasaki is an endemic brand. KTM is an endemic brand. Alpine Stars is an endemic brand. Endemic brands are brands that are already inside of the industry. But I look at the athletes that are in my industry that are already on Red Bull TV, like who sponsors them that is not in the industry? Is there a unique sponsor out there? And then we kind of look at that. And then along those lines, so a lot of my audience reads the American Motorcyclist Association. And I specifically asked them, do you read this or do you throw it away? And a lot of them actually said they read it because it's a required subscription magazine, which is silly. But so that's why it's important to distinguish if they actually read it or if they throw it away. Most of them said they actually read it. So I flipped through the American Motorcyclist Association magazine and I see who is advertising inside of the AMA magazine. And that'll give you a list of companies too. And then the next step after that, the final ring is you have your list of all of those companies, right? The very center of the bullseye, companies that were specifically mentioned in your survey, companies that would really help your audience in whatever it is that they're trying to do this year. And then companies that are advertising to your audience through channels, media channels that they are already interested in. The final ring is who are the direct competitors to that list of companies. So it seems pretty extensive, right? That should get you literally thousands of companies. Thousands. So many.
It's a lot.
Did that make sense right away? I felt like I really hammered through that real quick.
Yeah, no, I think it makes sense. Yeah.
Cool. Any questions on those 4 right away?
No, but it just reinforces how important surveys are.
Surveys. Yeah. Okay. So once you have your list of companies, I know I kind of did a YouTube thing on this previously. You're going to go through and you're going to like go on LinkedIn and you're going to look up one of those companies. So for me specifically, what we're going to talk about today is one of the questions inside of my survey was like, do you struggle with painful breakouts when you ride for 2 or 3 times a week? Like multiple days in a row. And I think it was over 87% of my audience said, yes, we do. And then reinforcing that 100% of my audience said that skincare was important to them. So I thought, what skincare brands do I know that are like very female focused in my demographic, et cetera, et cetera. I specifically use Stratia skincare. So I reached out to Stratia specifically. So I went on LinkedIn and I went to Stratia's business page on LinkedIn and I went to people. And then inside of people, I used the filters United States and marketing. And the VP of marketing showed up on my LinkedIn. Hooray! Hey. So I want to kind of share this rigmarole here. For if you're going to be watching the YouTube channel, you'll be able to see this. So I had this conversation with her. So the very first message I sent said, "Salutations, Brianna." That's her name. "My name is Catherine. I recently surveyed my audience and found that they really want to engage with a skincare brand. I'd love to do a quick meet and greet and see if it's a good fit to discuss further and learn more about how Stratia operates. I hope you have a stellar day." And look at this. 1 minute after I sent that, she responded, "Hello. It's a pleasure to meet you. What did you have in mind?" So this is a common question. Everybody freaks out the second they see this question. Like, oh my gosh, they want to know what we do. This is my time to tell them every single thing that I do and how incredible I am and how I can help their brand, right? This is where I tell them my race results. This is where I tell them all of the super incredible stuff. This is not that time. This is the worst possible time to do that. So instead, we really want to lead forward with putting the brand's interests at heart, the brand's best interests at heart. So my response to her, like, what did you have in mind? I said, great question. It's hard to say right off the bat because everything I do is custom. A lot of it is based on if our audiences align, what Stratia's goals and objectives are, if our brands align, etc. That's what the quick meet and greet call is for. So I really, really specified that it's about them. And I don't want to waste their time if it's not a good fit. So I'm really trying to hunt for that. This is a good fit. Really emphasize that. So then I just super short, concise, like really humble statement, but genuine. I'm a motorsports coach helping women gain more confidence on and off their bike. And over 85% of them said they struggle with painful breakouts when they ride more than 2 days in a row. And that skincare is extremely important for them. So I gave them an actual numerical statistic, but I told a story with that number. And I think that's really important because numbers don't have emotions, but people buy with emotions and justify with logic. So it's important to have both in there. So then I said, I try to stay away from coming to a meeting with ideas because that limits the creativity of being able to problem solve unique situations. I know that sounds super cheesy and lame and that your time is valuable. If you're not open to a call, can I send some basic questions through LinkedIn and see if I can't come up with some activation ideas for you that way? Thank you for taking the time to respond. I really appreciate it. Look forward to hearing back, Catherine. So I really specified, like, I know this sounds really salesy, but it's true. Like, I genuinely want to be able to come in with a clear slate, open mind, and be able to talk to whatever problem you have. I'm not necessarily saying that I'm going to give them logos and exposure and all this stuff. I didn't say anything about the stereotypical sponsorship, not once. I just said, I want to work together. I want to see if our stuff aligns. And if it doesn't, no harm, no foul. We're out.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that, Angel?
Yeah, I think that's great. And she responded?
She did respond. She responded, I think, 2 hours later, 3 hours later, 2 hours later. She said, hey, Catherine, we're happy to provide anything we can, especially from a skincare perspective. However, if this is for a paid placement, we have a limited budget and could only provide a product donation, education, and any sort of interview with our founder and formulator. Does that work for you? Now, this is where everybody does one of two things. They panic, or they scrap for whatever discount they possibly can. To which I have two sides to this coin, because Angel was here for this. Mm-hmm. When I sent these messages and I got this message back, I was like stunted, for a better word, because I did this prospecting for this podcast. When I reached out, I was like, man, I can challenge her on it. I really could challenge her on it, and see if I could get paid straight out of this. But they're offering an interview with the founder. So what if I could get an interview with the founder to talk about what would have made it better for the podcast and get that secondary angle? And the more I talked it over with Angel, the more I was like, if I can get an interview with the founder, then I can prove that it's not just some additional thing. You know, we can actually talk about these questions, and we can really paint a picture and a story. And it's not just this girl anymore, because here's the problem a lot of people face, is that they face a gatekeeper. Mm-hmm. Where they're just given some rinky-dink answer that they can just hand out willy-nilly to get people off of their plate. But Angel made a really good point of, I guarantee you the founder is not prepared to be asked things about like their brand and their audience and their marketing. I'm almost certain that their founder is used to hearing all about people taught about what they do, mm-hmm. you know, telling them how incredible they are, as opposed to actually being inquired about. Mm-hmm. So I decided to play that angle, and I accepted the offer so I could get an interview with the founder. But I had a double-edged sword for them. So I said, good morning, Brianna. Sure, I'm happy to work with a product donation, interview, and whatever education you're offering. Is there a way you've seen the most return on the product donations? Meaning, is there a specific way they've been positioned for maximum returns on your end? I just want to make sure y'all are getting something out of it too.
That comes from, we spent a week in North Carolina, so now she's saying y'all.
Y'all. But I really wanted to hammer home, and I wanted to keep the conversation open. Yep. I didn't want them to think that I was taking the free product and running. I really, really wanted to make that push and say, hey, this isn't about me. This is about you. Mm-hmm. And then everything switched when that happened. She said, hey, we'd love to discuss this further. Feel free to set up some time with my team. So then all of a sudden I have an invite to actually talk with multiple people and not just one person messaging over LinkedIn. Yep. So I sent out an email. We're waiting to schedule that call. But I really wanted to make this episode just to emphasize that you should never just take a product and run. If you're offered a free product or a discount, I'm not saying take it. You could absolutely challenge it, but think about the position you could be in if you accept it, but still push back and say, what can I do to make this the most for you? And that can potentially open the door for a lot more. So that's kind of what the plan, the strategy is for this. I just wanted to really emphasize that. Yeah, don't just take the money and run, and always make the first message you send people the shortest you possibly can. Make it concise, make it short. It's about them. It's not about you. It's about your audience. So yeah, that's what I got for today. What did you think of this whole process, Angel? You were here throughout the whole, like, messaging every individual person on the prospecting list and this conversation with Brianna.
I thought it was really cool to kind of finally see it happening, like, in person. Like, I was like with you, you were talking to me about what you were writing, and that was kind of fun to see. And then, like, the excitement when you got the first response, like, she responded a minute later, and it was like, whoa, that was super fast. So that was really cool. So to kind of see it working in real life, right in front of my eyes, was awesome, because we've been talking about this, and I know it works because I know that you've gotten sponsors in the past, and I know, I've been part of the group coaching programs, and I've seen that it works for those people. And but it's still really cool to just, like, be part of it, like, in real life. So I'm, like, emotionally invested in this now too. Yeah. But it's super cool. We were talking about it. When Catherine first got that message, she was just like, okay, so she's doing this as, like, part of the TKO challenge, right? So she's doing this as a writer for that. But then we also have this podcast, and, like, we wanted to share this with you guys. So I was like, okay, well, that interview with the founder sounds kind of cool for the podcast.
Yeah.
And the thing that I told her is that, what would you tell somebody, like, if I came to you, if I was your student, and I said, hey, they offered me this interview and free product. I'm not really interested in free product, like, alone. I mean, free product is always cool, but that's not all you want from this. So but we talked about, would you tell that person to take the interview? Because, again, we talked about the interview is where I think you could get further. And they can see who you really are, and kind of, like, see that you aren't trying to be just that other person who is going to ask for free stuff and run away, or, hey, let me put my logo or your logo on my bike. They're going to see that you actually have something that you actually want to help them, and they're going to be invested then to helping you. So
yeah, and I want to clarify, if the interview was not offered, I think I would have challenged the message a lot more.
Yeah.
And by that I would mean, like, what are the returns you get on free product donations? Like, I would call it out more than I would just, like, what are some ways that you've seen return on this? I would be a little more direct, and I would kind of force the issue a little more. Like, what are the returns you see? Has that helped you meet your goals, your initiatives, that kind of stuff? I would be a little more pushy, just because I don't want free product. I'm not going to take free product and promote stuff. Even though I'm reaching out to you, like, I'll take it down the street to the next person, and then the next person, and the next person, until somebody's not handing me free product, because free product is not necessarily the best thing for your audience either. That's the thing, is, like, I don't think the ladies at the writing clinic want free product. I think they want a solution, not just, like, a trial of something.
Yeah.
So that's something to really keep in mind when you're taking sponsors and things from other companies that you reached out. You reached out to them. You reached out to them, which means you are in control of the situation. That's the other thing that people don't understand, is, like, well, the company reached out to me, so I'm going to take the first offer. It's like, no. Just, like, you don't have to take the first offer that somebody gives you. When they're so used to other people asking them for stuff, that it's become routine of, like, if we can just give these people free product, they'll leave us alone. And we really want to break that habit. We want to be what's called a pattern interrupt.
Mhm.
We want to be something they haven't seen and they want to stop and like actually be like, huh, I wonder what this is. I could read more. Just like, even though I said, yeah, I'll take the free product, but I want to know what's the best way to deliver this free product that you've seen. That's an interrupt. They're like, oh, I guess we can talk about that. How about you schedule some time, you know? So that's keeping that door open, the conversation going. So anyway, that's a 20-minute rant that should have been a 10-minute rant. So
We're good at this.
we're super good at this. Yeah. Any questions?
No.
Cool.
I think it's awesome.
Well, I guess we'll see what comes from that email and
To be continued.
to be continued. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Until next time, everyone. Goodbye.
That.
Oh yeah. Shameless plug. And we forgot the dad joke. We were about to leave without a dad joke. Oh my gosh.
I've even been telling you them lately. So
Yeah, it's been pretty bad.
you've got ammo.
I've got ammo. So if you want more tips like this, you want insight into all things sponsorship, pre-order the book Don't Say Sponsorship for free plus shipping. It's free until we print. Once we go to printing, the book will be about $25. You can pre-order the book at don'tsaysponsorship.com. If you're watching the YouTube video, Angel's been pointing at it for the past 30 seconds. It's right at the top of the screen.
I'm not Vanna White.
It says don'tsaysponsorship.com. Pre-order the book, and then if you want access to all of the courses, the homework, the training, and everything, we have a membership site called the Don't Say Sponsorship Book Club. So that's for the next step up after the book. After that, you can apply for the group coaching program, which is really great. Angel's been a part of that. Zach and Courtney have been a part of it. Yeah.
It's really awesome. Like, it is so cool. Every time I'm like, we have a call, I come away just so motivated. I'm like, that was awesome. So-
Yeah. And it all starts with don'tsaysponsorship.com. That's where you find all of the stuff. After you pre-order the book, you'll get asked for the next stuff and the next stuff.
Yes.
So make sure to pre-order the book, free plus shipping. And on that note, Angel, where do all the bad rainbows go? She hates this one. It's the face for me. They go to Prism. But don't worry, because it was a light sentence. She refuses to acknowledge this one.
With literal tears in my eyes. Literal tears.
You sound so enthused. Wow. Oh my. You owe the people a dad joke too, because we're late. So
Oh no. I forgot all the ones that I've been telling you.
Well, Angel thinks of it. We also started a reality TV show. Believe it or not.
We're reality TV stars.
Yep. So it's on our YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and you just search Leaky Mushroom Moto Ranch, we should come up. Our little tag thing is at Leaky Mushroom Moto Ranch. But it's called Fungi Reality TV. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We started a reality TV show to capture this chaos all day, every day. It's pretty ridiculous.
Is like this all the time.
All the time.
So this is one that I told Darcy the other day. That I was banned from the Secret Cooking Society. I spilled the beans.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll give that one to you.
She goes, my brother would love that one. The guy that we started following, the cook, the chef.
Oh,
So
yes.
I was like, oh, I feel like he won't like that, but okay.
Yeah.
So we're waiting to hear if he liked it or not.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. On that note, I'm going to end this recording and get this published,
Yay.
hopefully tonight on Pi Day, so that you guys have something to listen to because we're late.
It's only like 4 days.
Sorry, gang.
It's just we took a break and didn't tell you, and then we're really early for next week.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway,
Bye.
hopefully we'll be back on Sunday. Bye.